Dobry den. Hello everybody, my name's Dennis and welcome to the New Local Tools YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to talk to you about tape measures. In fact, I'm going to talk to you about a lot of tape measures. The first thing I'm going to be talking about is the intended use of the tape measure. What are you going to be using it for? It's often overlooked by people who just want to buy a Milwaukee tape or a Fat Max tape, but really think about it. What do you need in a tape measure? What conditions are you going to be using it in? For instance, with this Milwaukee tape measure, there is a little gap here where if you see me pull and retract this blade, that to me is something that's going to get dirt and grime stuck in it after a while. So if you're working in very, very harsh and dirty conditions, this trap might be a little problem for you. Whereas on the Stanley Fat Max, that is no such thing. So you can see here on the Fat Max, there is no opening on the back and it slides in perfectly. Another thing to evaluate is whether if you need a metric only or a metric and imperial tape measure. In addition, some of these tape measures have up to a 4 meter standout. Now, if we do this on this Milwaukee, which is a 4 meter standout, we can try that real quick. Let's see. Right. How far can we go? We've crossed the camera now. So when we're at 3 meters and 50 and 4, and it's still standing up. That is pretty impressive. Now, not all of us needs that, but if you need something that can stand out really far, then obviously the Milwaukee stud might be something for you. Stanley also has a tape like the Fat Max. It's the silver one that has a 4 meter standout as well, so they compete a bit in the same market. But like I said, it's down to the brand. Which one would you rather use? The second thing I would like you to consider is what functions are you after. Now, this is a bit of trial and error. Personally, I have gone through a few tape measures. You kind of just need to hold them in your hand. You need to see how they fit in your hand. Because, for instance, if you have a bigger hand, something like the Stanley Fat Max, the 10 meter one or 33 feet one, might suit you really good because it doesn't feel small and flimsy in your hand. Also, the blade is really long. It retracts a bit stronger than the normal 5 meter or 16 feet. However, if you have a more normal sized hand that is not the normal 5 meter to 16 feet, might work really well for you. And the best thing to do is just to come into the shop, hold it in your hand, see how it feels ergonomically, pull the blade, retract it, and see how it works for you. Which one retracts better, which one locks better. So one thing to also consider when you hold it in your hand, like something like the Stanley Fat Max, this is the 8 meter one, which is a different size between the 10 and the 5. This also has a very rugged feel, and to my hand, I think the 8 meter one feels the best. But also consider the depth of the tape measure you're going to be using. For instance, this Stanley Power Lock, which is 8 meters as well, is quite a lot slimmer and more narrow in the body than the Fat Max is. Now, this blade is a bit thinner, whereas the Fat Max blade has a bit of a fatter blade. So the Power Lock has a 25mm wide blade, whereas the Fat Max has a 31.7mm wide blade. So it's a bit wider, it feels a bit more rugged, it's a bit more coating on it, but if you want something that's a bit slimmer, the Stanley Power Lock is really cool. And a third thing that I would like to consider when buying a new tape is ergonomics and brand loyalty. You need to test how it feels, you need to test how it works. If you need something that retracts really fast, or if you need something that retracts a bit slower, you can get all that, you just need to figure out which one's right for you. So, I want to talk about one more factor that you might find interesting but might not be applicable to you. This is more on people that are not sure of what to buy or they're first time buyers. It's whether if you should buy the most expensive one or if you should try and save money on it. A tape measure in general is something that you're going to use almost every day if you're a working professional. If you're a DIY person, you just do stuff at home, you can buy whatever and be fine with it. But since we're a tool shop that focuses predominantly on working professionals, I'm going to talk about that from that aspect. So that was 3 different aspects that you should consider when you buy a new tape measure, whether if it's your first one or if you're a seasoned professional. However, I'm going to give you one bonus one, which is whether if you should go for the high end or the budget one. So you're going to spend a lot of money and get a really good one, or you're going to try and save some money by buying a cheaper alternative. There is really no wrong or right with this. Tape measures aren't inherently that expensive either. You can get away with quite a lot of things. However, if you're one of those guys who are very brand loyal and you have all of your kit in Milwaukee, then obviously buy a Milwaukee tape measure if that makes you feel good. If you've been using a Stanley Fatmax for the last 20 years, then obviously buy a Stanley Fatmax, unless you're looking to change things up a bit. Personally, I would argue that you should put some money into it because it's something that you're handling every day if you're a working professional, and it needs to withstand time and durability, different weathers, different conditions, and all those kinds of things. But if you're on the flip side and you're just a home DIY-er, feel free to buy anything like this little Urban one that's only 3 meters, or anything in between that's just a fairly basic tape measure for home use. So that concludes it for this video. Like I said, I'm not going to make you buy a new tape measure if you've been using the same one for 20 years. However, if you would like to spice things up a bit and try something new, we have a plethora of different options that you can choose from. Please feel free to come and visit our shop. If you don't know where it is, the address can be found in the description box below with all of our associated links. So feel very free to come visit us here at New Local Tools, grab a tape measure in your hand and see how it feels, and maybe you'll find something that you didn't expect. Thanks for watching, I hope to see you all soon.